Welcome to One Cool Story, Tales from the University of Oregon School of Journalism and Communication. I'm your host, Julia Boboc, and I have a cool story of my own to share. When I joined the SOJC as a wide-eyed freshman, I thought I'd go into print journalism until I found audio storytelling. I joined the school's communication team, and with the combination of good timing and good ideas, we decided to start a podcast, this podcast. I never thought I'd get the amazing experience to host and produce a podcast all about the people who have walked through the halls of Allen and made it what it is today. But that's the thing, the SOJC can bring you places you never expected to be, help you meet people from all walks of life, and let you achieve things you never thought possible, helping you write your own cool story. For my last season with One Cool Story, I wanted to take a trip down memory lane with some of my incredible fellow seniors from each major to celebrate how far we've come and how the SOJC has helped us get where we are today. So without further ado, let's meet these seniors before they're gone forever. Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you guys on the podcast. I thought we could just start by having everyone go around, introduce yourself, let us know what your major is, your minor is, where you're from, and things that you're involved with.
My name is Mirandah Davis-Powell. I'm a senior this year. I guess we all are. But I'm a journalism major. My minors are in food studies and Spanish. Currently, I am a writer for the Eugene Weekly through the Catalyst Journalism Project here at the SOJC, and then also a writer for the Clark Honors College communications team.
My name is Adrian Garcia. I'm a public relations major. My minor is in comics and cartoon studies, and currently I'm involved in Unidos. I'm the president for that, but I'm also a writer for Ducks Presents, which is the film screening club at the campus, but they have their own journalism thing. And yeah, I also used to be part of Allen Hall PR.
I'm Mick Matei. I am a senior, just like everybody. I'm from Danville, California, so Bay Area. I'm a media studies major with a double minor in sports business and Italian. I work with the athletic department, so I film. I kind of just throw a big old camera on my shoulder, and when there's a live broadcast on TV or in venue, like on the Jumbotron video board, that's kind of what I do, and we put that up and just kind of make an environment for people.
So my name is Amarion Akinsanya. I'm an advertising major, a business administration minor. I am from Connecticut. And what I do on campus, I'm a part of university communications, so like duck socials, etc.
Well, it's really amazing to get to know you guys. I'm super excited to dive into these questions and get to hear about all of your experiences in Allen Hall and in college and in life in general. So I thought we could just start with you guys telling us why you decided to come to the SOJC in the first place and what you've been involved in since.
I decided to come to the SOJC because I was looking at journalism programs mostly. I was pretty involved with journalism in high school, and it seemed like a good place to start, and then I stuck with it. But Oregon felt like a good fit specifically because I'm from Oregon. I qualified for Pell Grant, so I got the Pathway Oregon Grant, and with the help of Pathway, I came to the SOJC. Very quickly kind of jumped into whatever I could, started writing for the Daily Emerald, in the summer and fall before my freshman year. Got involved with KWVA, the radio station here on campus, and I was also part of the SOJC's direct admit cohort, which existed for 1 year, our freshman year, and I was also part of the media and social action academic residential community. So kind of just tried to get my bearings as quickly as I could and familiarize myself with the SOJC.
Mine's a little bit of a longer story, but I originally went to Lane Community College a couple years ago, and I switched around a lot of majors, nursing, psychology, business administration, and then eventually I ended up with trying to do dental hygiene school. But I was doing track at the same time. That's the whole reason I went to Lane in the first place, because nobody in my family went to college beforehand. So I was like, I don't even know how to apply. So I'm going to just go where my roommates are going. It was just Lane when they were going for pole vault as well. Pole vault ended. I didn't get into the dental hygiene program. I was just going through a rough time, you guys. I kid you not. I lost my car. I was just working at the movie theater part-time. I was like, shit, this might be my life right now. Then my girlfriend told me to apply for the Pell Grant. She told me to apply to UO, and I was like, I mean, I can try. And I was like being a big downer at the time. I was like, nah, I'm not going to get it. Like, everything's been going rough right now. But luckily I applied, and I got the Pell Grant, and I started winter 2024. And at the time I was going to do marine biology, but people kind of skewed me away from that. Then I tried business. I didn't even go into the business class. I dropped it first day when I went to media professions. But I was like, well, I guess I can try business and start my own like cooking business because I like cooking and baking. And then I was like, I don't like business. And then I tried the SOJC, the media professions classes. They throw you into like a mix of a lot of stuff. And then Monday came in when it was PR's turn. And he was like, yeah, we usually get a lot of people that are like quiet, introverted, like to be kept to themselves in PR. That's not usually like always the case, but I get a lot of those people. And then he said like introvert. I was like, you got me there. So then I just got involved. I joined Unidos my first time. I was going to join PRSSA, but they went at the same time. So at the time, I was like, whatever I choose right now is kind of going to be my path from where I go on. I chose Unidos. I took over the following year. And yeah, I grew it. I joined Allen Hall PR as well. I joined Ducks Present as a writer on there. And the rest is history. Now I'm on a podcast. So.
Awesome. Mick.
So I joined kind of late. I came to UO because when I toured, they talked about like sports business. And I was like, sports, that's me. That's literally my whole being, unfortunately. That's all I know and talk about. So I came knowing that. And when I was scrolling through majors, because you have to declare by, winter of your sophomore year or whatever, I was like, I don't know what to do. I came in as a psych major, heard the psych classes were not the greatest because they're just big lectures, and I didn't love that. So I was like, crap, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was just scrolling on the website and found media studies. I was like, I use social media all the time. Didn't really know what I was getting in for, but I really have enjoyed it. It's small classes. It's a small major. I wish it was bigger, but it kind of, the SOJC as a whole being, once I figured out what it was and found my footing a little bit, you know, it got me on Handshake. It got me on to my internships. It got me through to meeting people and joining clubs, and just kind of it perfectly somehow intertwined with sports business and everything else. And so it just ended up just working out. I kind of just guessed and checked at that point, sophomore year. So I'm kind of glad that it just worked out.
I want to get into the way that the School of Journalism and Communication kind of intertwines with a lot of people's interests, but I want to get to you, Amarion. Can you talk a little bit about how you made it to the SOJC?
Yes. So I was also a transfer student. I transferred out of Iona University back in like 2022, and my friend was coming out here for track, and he was transferring out of NYU. So I'm pretty spontaneous. I wanted to leave my school anyway, and also I was originally a chemistry major, and I was like, this sucks. So I just said, let's do it. I had no idea where Oregon was on the map. That's pretty bad. I probably shouldn't say that. But I knew the university for Nike and their product design and other things related towards like advertising, and I thought there was like a streamline for that. And I was like, I love kind of just doing what I do as like fun projects, and maybe it could be a career, but it wasn't initially what I was going for. So when I transferred in, I was originally a business major, but I found myself always gravitating towards SOJC programs and different stuff, and I really wanted to use that J cage. So I did whatever I could to get access to that J cage, because I wasn't an advertising major originally, so I didn't have access, and it sucked. So originally, I found a way. I found a way to do it, and then I joined the ad team, and after a certain point, I was also doing like social medias for like small clubs and stuff, and I was like, why not just switch over to advertising and actually like get the classes that help me do what I already do, you know? So I did the switch, best decision ever, and I switched to business to my minor. I've joined stuff like ad team. I have gotten the job with the communications. I feel like I've been all over the SOJC. I'm very fortunate, and yeah, that's kind of my story for.
Perfect.
He's here for the J cage.
I'm here for the J cage.
Came for the J cage, stayed for everything else. Well, I think a really interesting part of also the group that we have here today is the variety of minors and interests. And I think you kind of touched on this, Mick, but within the SOJC, you can really hone in on an interest that you already have or something that you already have made a hobby out of. And I'm really curious if there were any classes or projects or things that you guys were a part of where you really felt like you got to focus on something that you were interested in or maybe had thought about going into that taught you like, oh, this is what I want to do, or this is like a niche that I didn't even think was possible to focus on. And I'll have you start, Mick, because I think I kind of know what you're going to talk about. But yeah.
So specifically, I mentioned JCOM 221. I took that with Maxwell Foxman last winter. And at the time, I was volunteer coaching at South Eugene High School, which is literally 20 feet away from us. So it kind of worked out. I sent an email and I went and I was coaching, and I was like, crap, I'm so busy, like all these classes. And the JCOM 221 is one of those classes that's only for media studies majors. And it was just to make a project. We met once a week. It was like a 2-credit class. It was super chill, kind of low key. And I was like, okay, how can I incorporate everything that I'm doing into a project? And something that I noticed about where I was coaching was the difference of male coaches versus female coaches. And I've always had an inkling of, I'm a big advocate that girls need at least a female coach on their staff, because it's just mentally different competing at a high level or at any level, male and female. So I did a project where I interviewed some of my players and I asked them questions about whether they preferred a male or female coach. And honestly, I was quite surprised. Like, some of them were like, no, I like having a male coach because it's competitive and, you know, it gets me fired up. And some of them were like, no, I need a female coach because emotionally this game is really hard for me and that kind of stuff. So it kind of just reaffirmed to me, my dream is to coach women's basketball. So that was also, it became a passion project, and it truly turned into like a beautiful little thing. But yeah, it was so easy to just combine everything and figure out how to make it all work. So that class really stood out to me.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I want to ask you, Mirandah, because I don't know anyone else with a food studies minor.
I don't know, kind of what you're saying about media studies is reminding me of how I feel about food studies minors, where it's like, you know, it's not a major, there's a department, but it's a small handful of people. And I'm like, I kind of know all of them, but not really, because we've all had classes together. Anyhow, I joined the food studies minor after my first term freshman year. I came in as a poli-sci minor, and then I took one poli-sci class, and I was like, this is not gonna work. And the honors college course that I took fall term my freshman year was philosophy of food, and it was taught by the woman who was the department head at the time for food studies, and I thought she was so cool, and the class was really super interesting. I didn't know that it was a thing until I met her and I took that class. So joined the minor, and then over time kind of kept taking any opportunity I had to kind of intersect food and journalism. It, you know, kind of started when I was at the radio station my freshman year. I had a radio series where I did episodes about food insecurity. And then the summer after my sophomore year, I got to go on the Food Studies in France GEO program trip that Damian Radcliffe leads. And that was really, just super focused on food journalism the whole time. It was great because we got to talk about this thing that I have like a very specific interest in, and it kind of solidified that it is actually something that you can do. Like, there are people who do this, kind of made it more real. So that was super cool. And now I'm doing the thesis. My thesis is about food journalism and audience engagement. And so, I don't know, throughout my time here, I've just kind of taken whatever opportunities I could and to dive into something that is so niche and specific. And it's been a good time. Yeah.
Absolutely. I also wanted to ask you guys specifically about skills that you've developed over our time in college. It feels like a lot to look back on how many classes we've taken and how many things we've actually done and projects we've been a part of, but there are definitely some clear skills that you get out of being in the SOJC that sort of translate into your future and translate into the jobs that you're getting and the opportunities you're getting. So I really want to hear from you, Adrian, and you, Amarion, because you guys are really involved as well with extracurricular activities within the SOJC and out. What skills you think you guys have developed from the SOJC that have led you into the paths and the commitments that you have now, which is a lot of commitments.
I can start off. I can say all the basic stuff like, oh, I know how to write a press release. I know how to do all this. I know how to write this. I know how to pitch. I know how to talk to clients. So yeah, like that's all stuff that anybody's going to learn, like whether you're advertising, journalism, media studies, or PR, that's stuff you're going to learn. I think the biggest thing for me, and as cliche and as cringy as it sounds, was the confidence that I've developed over time. I'm a naturally like shy, quiet, introverted person. Most people will disagree.
Yeah.
But when I tell them, it's kind of a skill I developed over time being at the SOJC. Like if it was up to me, I'd rather be quiet and just let people handle stuff. But that's not how the world works. So over time I've learned, and with all the great professors I've had, they tell you, just be confident in yourself, be yourself, and if you're being yourself, you'll be fine. It's led me to not just be the president of my club, but grow my club into what it went from like 0 people to 20 people. It went from being a no club to a club where we have clients, where we're doing PR work for them, advertising work, journalism work, where we never took trips. Now we're going to Portland, we're going to Seattle. There's talks of going to San Francisco, New York in the future. And it's a lot of this stuff I wouldn't have learned without the SOJC because they taught me how to be confident. So, and how to talk to people too. I mean, even doing this right now, I would have never imagined like showing up a couple years ago when I got to SOJC. I wouldn't have imagined being on a podcast. I wouldn't imagine being on videos. Like whenever the SOJC reaches out, I'm like, really? You want to me? I'm like, I'm not that special, I guess. But
I mean, it's true. Like anyone who's met you would be like, Adrian's not an introvert. But yeah.
And I am, and it's funny because people are like, you are not, you are a mix-up. But I'm like, guys, I want to be at home with my dog and watch like Marvel movies all day long in my animation. But I do love the work I do. That's not to like say I do. Like I love everything I do here, and I love the people I've met, the people in my club. I mean, talking to you guys. So.
What about you, Amarion? What skills have you gotten through the SOJC that you think have made you as successful as you are?
I would probably start off with like NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists. I've learned that like speaking up and actually like, you know, being confident about behind what you say could actually like go a long way, even if you think you're wrong, you know? It always causes the discussion and et cetera, or you might even be right. So that's something I picked up, which translated into like kind of everything I've done within the SOJC, like talking to professors or going for opportunities. Also working alongside with people who are a little bit more comfortable or more skilled in certain areas than you, especially like behind the camera, for example, if we're referencing Adam. It was like, I've learned a lot from working alongside of other people, especially like around audio equipment. So I was very fortunate for that.
Well, something else that I kind of heard in that, Amarion, is the like community and support within the SOJC and taking classes with people that are different from you or have different interests, but also having professors and GEs that support you. And I would love to talk a little bit about what community has looked like for you guys through the SOJC, and whether that's, you know, peers that you're working with, people in your club, or also professors that have been a part of your development as a student that have helped you. What has that looked like for you in the SOJC, and how has that community and that support helped you be the best version of yourself or get as far as you have today? Do you guys go to office hours?
I think that something that's been super impactful for me while I've been here has been the alumni connections that I've made, or even now just being a senior and seeing the folks that I knew who graduated like my freshman and sophomore year in these full-time roles. You know, someone I knew is now in a comms role for the city of Portland. Someone else that I know just got hired full-time at the Seattle Times. Like being out there and seeing people who are doing the thing that you know, maybe years ago couldn't imagine yourself doing, that's been really helpful and really cool to kind of envision yourself in their place. Yeah.
I think alumni is a big one. Yeah, I'm involved in Warsaw, so that's a sports business club in Lillis. And in 2024, Women's March Madness was in Portland at Moda Center. And they had sent out an email. They're like, hey, we need volunteers. And I was like, sure, I'll go. Don't have to tell me twice. And the head, it was working in connection with Sport Oregon, a nonprofit who gets the bids and gets these big events in Portland and all those things. The head of that program was an SOJC alumni. And she graduated in 3 years, and now she's a big shot at this nonprofit, and she's honestly a phenomenal woman. I love her dearly. She just is like one of the most perfect examples of like incorporating sports into the SOJC. And I know that there's talks of adding like a sports broadcasting minor in the SOJC, because we have Duck TV and we have KWVA, which we work with through my internship. We take some of you guys and put you on as announcers in color for games. And so adding a minor like that and just adding this sports aspect when there's classes, you just don't have a label for it. So just kind of the ever-changing aspect of the SOJC is also really crazy to see, even like with Gateway gone. I never took Gateway. I think the evolution of it is crazy. Yeah. Just, you know, we've been here for 4 years, maybe even less.
Did you take Gateway, Amarion?
No, I didn't.
You came in later. Okay. Did you have to take Storycraft?
Yes.
Okay. How was that? Because you had done video work before coming to the SOJC, right?
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about what it was like to then come into the School of Journalism and kind of not just learn more about the video aspect of everything, but also get a little bit of the audio that you were mentioning before and like learning about photo and all of those things, broadening your skills. What was that like for you coming in as a transfer as well?
Yes, I've done a lot of those stuff before, and I was fortunate enough to like, again, being involved with other SOGC related things have given me positions where I've learned more about my equipment. I'd say coming in as a transfer before, because I didn't take any classes related to what I was doing before. Everything I learned was like kind of self-taught. So learning, I guess, proper terminology for certain stuff definitely was very impactful. I will say for me, I felt like the audio class was a little bit more useful in my scenario because yeah, I've never really played around too much with audio, and I've always filmed audio straight out of the camera, or sometimes I just attach a shotgun mic and call it a day. So to actually pay attention to it is really nice, and now I kind of want to do like Foley and stuff like that.
Oh, that's sick.
I think that'd be really cool. Make some noises and stuff.
I also wanted to get into, I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to reflect on kind of how far you've come since joining the SOJC, and while the time frames for that have kind of looked different for each person, there's still, I think, a big difference between, you know, who I was when I came to the SOJC and who I am today, and a lot has happened between then. So I wanted to ask, when you think back on who you were and what you were worried about when you came into the SOJC or when you came into the U of O. You know, maybe you had a different major, maybe you had a different interest, but thinking back on that version of yourself in comparison or in juxtaposition with who you are today, what would you tell yourself, your freshman year self, or your first year in the SOJC self, to help them understand how the next few years is going to go, or help them be, as successful as they can. I know I think we had a similar experience, Mick. We were talking about this. I was not paying enough attention in school freshman year and trying to just, be social and make friends and maybe not focusing on the work of it all, and then getting all of that pushed back is really, really tough on you. So yeah, just kind of thinking back on who you were, what would you tell yourself, and how would that, have helped you get to where you are today?
I would tell the younger me to relax a little bit. He overthought a lot. Very, very shy person. People thought too much about him. So I was like freaking out all the time. I tell him just relax, have fun with it. You don't have to get involved so quickly, because people have this idea that I gotta get involved like this fast. I gotta move up this quickly. I gotta do this before time runs out. I mean, I started really late. Like, I'm on the older side compared to most people. And telling him, like, just relax, just find something that you like, something that you're passionate about. And if there's no club around that, create your own thing. Because one of my favorite things that I've took away from Damian Radcliffe, he's part of the reason why I do a lot of the stuff I do in my own club, is he told me, it's like, if there's not opportunities for you, it's your responsibility to create those opportunities and create those pathways to get to where you want. And I would tell my younger self that. I'd be like, just create something that you want to do. Have fun with it. It doesn't have to be this work mentality all the time. You're going to get there. Being part of school is going to get you at some point. To just relax, have fun with it. And I would tell him, like, look where I'm at now. Like, we've gone really far in life. Like, I'm applying to be commencement speaker at this point right now too. So it's like, hopefully it goes good. Vote for me. But yeah, I'd be like, yeah, like, look where we're at right now. And it's all because I took the time to just sit down and think, like, what do I want to do? I want to have fun with school. I don't want it to be work all the time. So just relax. Find something you're passionate about and just stick with it.
Love it. Love it.
I guess what I would tell my younger self is, as I said before, imposter syndrome is just a figment of your imagination, and you could kind of fit into wherever you fight to belong in, And I know it was especially hard coming as a transfer and to a PWI and like all these other factors that felt like I didn't belong, but no one really knows what they're doing. So it's everyone's first time on earth. It's okay to make mistakes. Just go at it full speed.
Many mistakes. Especially at the SOJC. You can do that at the SOJC.
I love that. That's great.
I think my whole spiel, again, I think I want to do something inspirational and not be an inspiration is something that I've heard a lot, is like an athlete, like, oh, you're my inspiration, like, you're my reason for doing what I'm doing. It's like, no, that makes me have to be perfect all the time. I learned that from Charlie Dietz, that literally this term. He was talking like, you can do something inspirational and be a positive impact on someone's life, not you're human being the entirety of that inspiration. And so, like, being able to tell myself literally freshman year, living in Earl, getting sick all the time, just being like, no, you get to go walk on a basketball court with a camera. You know how a camera works. You have met, like, you've interacted with, like, Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark and all of these phenomenal people that you admire for what they're doing. You are becoming a part of this generation of people to inspire younger people. And that's something that I've learned through the SOJC, something I've just taught myself. And when you talked about confidence, like, that's totally what I learned in the SOJC too. Like, just the growth in the 4 years that I've been here is astronomical. I would not be who I am if I didn't come to Oregon. And just being a person that people can look up to in a world of sports where women are not valued and not seen on many sides in many aspects is just the whole pride of, like, your why. You have to have a why to do what you're doing.
I think similarly to you, Adrian, I was pretty freaked out my freshman year about, like, making sure that I was taking all the right steps and doing everything in an order that would get me to a place of success, whatever that looked like. I didn't really know yet, but I remember like my fall term freshman year asking SOJC advising, I was like, I need to make a 4-year plan right now. I'm freaked out. So I would have told my younger self that, you know, to have a little more fun with it and relax, and I would have encouraged myself to explore all the different opportunities that there are at the SOJC a little more. I kind of stuck pretty closely to writing and audio production, and I wish I would have dabbled more in like video production or learn how to use a camera, right? And then on the other side of that, I also think I would have told myself that, you know, there are going to be opportunities where you get to do something that feels huge and amazing. Like specifically travel, that wasn't something that I foresaw myself getting to do, and that was totally something that the SOJC made possible for me, both through like summer study abroad programs and then also like journalism in New York trip, for example. Didn't see that coming. So, you know, knowing that if I had been able to tell myself that there were going to be cool opportunities ahead, I would think I would have been able to chill out a little bit more.
I was gonna say, I completely agree with the idea of like expanding early on, because I thought that you had to go into the SOJC with a very specific path in mind, and if you didn't necessarily follow that path that you had set for yourself early on, that you were maybe doing something wrong. Like, I thought I was gonna be like a TV news anchor, and then I was like, no, I have to be a writer. And then everyone was like, print is dead, newspapers are dead, everything sucks. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? But yeah, like not taking advantage, like I hadn't taken advantage of like a real video focused education, and now the big thing is social media video and being able to make reels and like make short form content and like learn how to do all of those things, and having kind of set myself with a very specific thing in mind and not let myself broaden. I think that was something that I wish I had done early on, because you don't really realize what's going to be relevant until you do it and it becomes relevant.
And it all changes so fast. Like you really just kind of got to get all the skills you can and then see what is going to stick or what's going to land. Yeah.
You might as well make it relevant again, too.
Yeah. True.
You know, I've learned that people change their minds a lot about many things. So it's just like, might as well make it relevant again. If it's dying, bring it back to life. Relive it.
Is there something that you guys wish you had, kind of off of this conversation, is there something within the SOJC that you guys wish you had taken advantage of that you didn't? Or a class you wish you had taken, or a professor you wish you had gotten to connect with, that if you were able to go back, you would do it?
I had Gateway with Dan Morrison, but I never took like a photo class with the guy or went to his office hours or anything like that, because I think it was spring of my freshman year when I took Gateway, and I was scared of the guy. It was him and Charlie Dietz, and I was like, you know, I'll ask my TA the questions, you know. But, you know, now that I have been around the SOJC more and I know more, I've just like interacted with Dan more in passing, and like he's come into classes and stuff like that. I think that the guy cares a lot about teaching his craft, which is photo, and I think that that could have been a cool thing to learn from him, that I wish I would have taken advantage of. Yeah.
I wish I would have double majored. As crazy as that sounds, like, as much as my PR skills have increased, I wish I learned more about journalism and advertising and even media study, because I know there's a lot of cool stuff there. God, if I could like triple, quadruple major, I would. I love learning, that's the thing. So I wish I would have doubled major, because I wish I had the skills that other students have. So I specifically would have loved to take more classes with Damien Radcliffe, some classes with like Christine Wise or Slavka. I love Whitney Phillips. I don't know if you've had her.
I haven't had her, unfortunately. I've heard great things.
Whitney Phillips, I swear, when I took her, I had 2 classes with her, and she had a monsters and cross-cultural narrative class. All we talk about in fall term, so it lands around October. We talk about like monsters in television, movies, like vampires, zombies. There's a lot of dark stuff behind that stuff, you guys. Oh my gosh, it's so sad. But during that time, like every time class ended, we would have our little walk, because we would walk in the same direction back home. We'd have our little conversation. It's like, you are so cool. You're like just like me. I was like, I wish you could be my mentor, but like, I have so little time here. But yeah, Whitney Phillips especially, I wish I had more class with.
Same.
She doesn't know how impactful she was.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you have a professor that you wanted to take more classes with, or a class that you wanted to take?
Shout out Joey McMurray. I wish I knew about Duck TV, because I came in not realizing coaching is going to be hard to get into because I'm not a player, right? So I think if I had taken Duck TV or Audio One and had an understanding that, you know, you can be the voice of that, it would have been really interesting. And I was telling you about this. Joey actually, I know him, and he has a cute little nickname for me because I used to go help out with their podcast when football would do interviews. So he calls me coach. He'll like call me coach when I see him, and I wish I could have actually seen him in a classroom setting and like gotten to know him through Duck TV and what his passion is, because his podcast is great and it's very informative, and his questions are phenomenal. It's just, I really look up to him, so I would say Joey Mack.
Gosh, I hope you become a coach.
That's the dream.
For me, it would have to be Professor Ewald. I feel like I've only had one class with him, and I thought he was an amazing professor, and I see him all the time around SOJC, and I'm always saying hi, and we always have nice interactions, so he just seems like a really cool guy, and I really wish I worked more with him.
Well, for the last bit of this interview, I thought we could do a speed round of questions to close out the episode and get to hear your reflections on the college experience in a sort of short format. So, first question, quickly, what does the future hold for you, and how did the SOJC help make that happen? Let's go Amarion first.
This summer, hopefully, I'm planning out, I really want to just travel for a little bit before I start working, but I'll probably go back to Chicago and work with iEaters again.
Mick?
I'm going to Gonzaga in the fall. So I'm going to grad school for sports administration. I'll be doing more broadcasting work and hopefully becoming a manager for the women's basketball team and just getting super involved out there in Spokane.
When we first interviewed, you said you were applying to grad school, so now you've got
in. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Adrian?
I am currently applying jobs to New York. I really want to work in the film entertainment sector, especially like agency work. I already have my first day planned out when I get to New York, so I'm hoping it comes true. It's going to be really funny. I'm going to show up, unpack, play the song, the basic song, New York, whatever. And then I'm gonna go to a diner, sit there and be like, wow, I'm actually here. And then I'm gonna go back to my apartment and watch a movie about New York, which I know sounds like
You could watch the Spider-Man movie.
I gotta watch Spider-Man. I gotta watch any New York movie. That's gonna be my first day. And then I'll go explore after.
Love it.
That's awesome. A week after graduation is my start date at the Seattle Times. I'm going to be the business reporting intern there this summer, and the fact that the turnover is so quick is really exciting and also a little nerve-wracking, but I'm really looking forward to it. Everyone up there is super cool, and I get to live with a bunch of friends up in Seattle, so shout out Washington. Let me know if you're ever in the city.
Yeah, I'll be at Storm games, don't even worry.
There you go.
Well, for anyone watching or listening, if you don't have any plans, me neither. I have nothing, and that is okay. You guys are super, super awesome, and it's just huge that you've got those things going on, and you at least have a rough plan, and it's gonna be sick. I'm really excited to see where you guys end up and what you end up doing. Okay, second question. How would you describe your college experience in 3 words?
Spontaneous, fun, impactful.
Oh gosh, crazy, intense, and yeah, spontaneous. Yeah.
Unexpected, impactful, and very, this is going to be a weird word to use, but very loving. I don't know. I created such a good community here. Like, I'm going to be sad to leave it. So I guess community is the last word. So.
encouraging, exciting, and door opening, I think.
I love that. I love that. Last question. How do you think your freshman year version of yourself would react to you now? You as a person, you as a student, a professional, or just what you're doing and where you're at in life?
Job's not finished.
Ooh.
That's it right there. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Job's not done.
Done. No one else needs to answer that question.
That pretty much sums it up. But like jaw on the floor, like I didn't realize what jobs there were in sports until I got here. You don't realize behind the scenes until you do it.
Jaw on the floor as well, but I would be like, really, we did that? I'd be like, I don't know how. I'd be like, fake it till you make it, I guess. Exactly. But I think he'd be really proud. I think he would be like, well, congratulations. I'm excited for what's ahead. So.
Definitely.
I think I would have been kind of relieved and pretty stoked. And I'd also feel like I would have a bunch of questions. Like younger me would have a bunch of questions for current me about like, okay, so now what? Yeah, job's not finished. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening to another episode of One Cool Story, Tales from the University of Oregon School of Journalism and Communication. And thank you for spending the last 2 years tuning in with me. If you want to hear more, find us wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe to make sure you never miss an episode. If you want to hear more about what's going on at the SOJC, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Blue Sky at UOSOJC. From Allen Hall, I'm Julia Boboc, and I won't see you next time, but I'll see you around.